My friends, look at the military map. Which of these Russian-occupied settlements was attacked by Ukrainian maritime drones and air drones last night? Drum roll. Yes, you're right, it was Sevastopol. Unbelievably, Ukraine has attacked Sevastopol once again, and we know Russian Black Sea Fleet is stationed at Sevastopol Bay. This water body right here. Well, actually, Ukraine attacked this entire area. You see these waters going inland like claws. Ukraine attacked the entire area. Russian air defense was active. And most incredible footage comes out of this Sevastopol Bay area. Actually, this is the defensive line into the bay. Russia keeps most of their Black Sea Fleet on this water body right here. These two land stretches right here, you see, they're here to break waves and also for defensive purposes. At one point after the last maritime attack, Russia pulled a huge chain in between those two land areas here to physically block any Ukrainian drones. Well, this time it wasn't a chain. Let's look at the footage. The moving object is a Ukrainian maritime or sea drone, the one we know of already, and the fireflies that are flying around it, you know, looking like little bugs, they're actually machine gun fire tracers. Russian military blogger Rehi claims that in this footage the maritime drone was destroyed a moment later after the video cuts. Rehi claims that all air drones were shot down by Tor anti-air defense systems in the area, and the sea drones attacked the Sevastopol Bay in around 5 AM. 2 of the sea drones. According to his data, 9 UAVs or air drones and 2 marine drones were destroyed last night. What makes this attack a little bit different is that usually Ukraine launches their UAVs to attack Crimea from Odessa or the Odessa region, but this time the drones did not come from Odessa. They came from this settlement right here, Artur, which is the first time of Ukraine launching any drones from this area. And when I zoomed into the settlement, the first thing I noticed was this installation right here. And yes, it is what you think it is. It is an insanely big solar farm of Ukraine. Looks good, and I'm glad to see it. Oh, look at this thing, it's massive. And now I'm gonna zoom into an island on the Black Sea, which is Bilye, or Snake Island actually. Rehi claims that Ukrainian warships have been seen around this island practicing releasing sea drones onto the waves. Well, this is a legendary island, look at it. Ooh, Zelensky visited that island. But why did the Ukrainians attack Sevastopol right now? What's the timing got to do with it? Because the 17th of July is the current ending of the grain deal. And some people comment, oh Artur, you didn't know about this? Erdogan just confirmed that Putin will agree to lengthen the grain deal. No, my friends, there is no official information. There are rumors. There are rumors that Turkey will guard Ukrainian ships. It's only a rumor. There are rumors that Russia will then lengthen the grain deal. Only a rumor. Of course they might do that, but we have no official information. As of now, the grain deal ends tomorrow. This Ukrainian attack puts pressure on Russia to lengthen the grain deal, because this is Ukraine flexing their muscles on the Black Sea. A country without a proper fleet is flexing their muscles on an entire Russian Black Sea fleet. It sends a clear message. I mean, Russia better lengthen the grain deal or these attacks will continue more often. And if we're talking about why Sevastopol, well, obviously it's the home of the Black Sea Fleet, but that is not it. I mean, if you go to Sevastopol, you go a little bit north, you see Belbek Air Base, this airstrip right here. And Russia has really been working on building that out. On this footage, you can see how Russians have built additional areas to this airfield ever since the 24th of February 2022. So Russians have not been idle. They're creating more targets for Ukrainians here. This satellite photo is taken on the 10th of July from Sevastopol Bay. This is the Russian Navy, and these ships are camouflaged, as you can see. You cannot really visually make sure that these are military ships or what kind of ships they are, but using SATIM AI, which is an AI capable of locating Russian warships and detecting their class even if they're camouflaged. For example, here we have Corvette Krisha, Corvette Bora, Corvette Tarantul, Corvette Puyan. And if I look at these, it's just, I couldn't make anything out of them. So Russians can camouflage their ships all they want, but with the AI technology. What I read was that even through clouds, this AI can analyze the satellite imagery and tell anyone where these Russian ships are located. So their navy cannot move undetected. My friends, you have noticed that in my past 10 to 15 videos I have not have sponsors. This is an acknowledged choice on my part. I have changed up how I will use sponsors. I decided I will not use sponsors on most of my videos, and then I will make one dedicated video, and this one is it. I hope you understand, or at least I ask of you to be understanding. Now the sponsored segment begins, and I work hard to make this sponsored segment connect to the topics as good as I can. For example, today we will talk about uranium processing, uranium producing and mining, which is very much connected to the uranium security of the world because most of it comes from Russia. And today's sponsor wants to change that. Thank you for your understanding, and let's go, my friends. My friends, today I want to guide your attention to Traction Uranium. Here is their webpage. Traction Uranium is a Canadian exploration company and their ticker is right on the screen. Traction Uranium has two ongoing projects in the Athabasca Basin, which is located in the Saskatchewan region of Canada. The Athabasca Basin is home to 10 of the 15 highest grade uranium deposits of the world. So most high grade uranium of the world comes from this small area, Athabasca Basin of the Saskatchewan region. And Traction Uranium has two projects going on in there. A whopping 15.5% of the whole world's uranium comes from this place. But before we go into those two projects, let's take a look upon the future of the uranium. The European Union recently designated nuclear power as a sustainable energy source. That was the reaction to Russia's blackmail with their fossil fuels, cutting off the oil and gas. It's a huge thing because this makes uranium extremely desirable on world's markets. There is already a huge deficit of uranium going on. Nuclear energy right now provides about 10% of the world's global electricity output with 443 reactors. Over 50 countries use nuclear energy. We're not only talking about civilian nuclear reactors providing electricity to cities, we're also talking about aircraft carriers, nuclear submarines. That is not going to change. These huge vessels need their power sources. It doesn't even matter if nuclear is designated green or not. Aircraft carriers are getting their power from nuclear. So are the biggest submarines. That's not going to change anytime soon. USA has 93 reactors with almost 20% of the country's power coming from nuclear. France has 56 reactors with a whopping 70% of the country's power coming from nuclear. China right now has 54 reactors, only 5% of the country's power comes from nuclear, but China plans to open 17 new reactors in the coming years, and the long-term plans are even crazier. Nuclear is not going anywhere. If we look at the raw data, we can see that it's expanding aggressively. And there's a reason for it. It is a lot greener than coal, gas, oil, or any kind of fossil fuels you can name. The world right now is in huge uranium deficit. That means uranium is produced a lot less than it is consumed by the nuclear electricity producing countries. Let's take France for example. 70% of their electricity comes from nuclear, but where does the nuclear fuel, the uranium, come from? Yes, you guessed it, it comes from Russia. Still it does. After the sanctions, after the war with Ukraine, Russia is the main European uranium source right now. You cannot really change that because you cannot change your uranium sources like you do with fossil fuels because there's a lot less uranium in the world. United States gets about half of their uranium from Russia. This is why Traction Uranium is important because they are going to start drilling in Canada on the Athabasca Basin. Here are their two projects. After they find uranium there, then the real party starts. US can switch from Russian uranium to Canadian uranium and so can Europe. And I don't even have to mention the party that the investors will have then. Let's look at Hardy Bay. See, this is the Athabasca Basin and on the northern side they have this land. They are taking samples right now and the data indicates that there is high-grade uranium at the bottom of the lake of Hardy Bay. Of course, more samples, more data, more research is needed before the extraction starts. But for investors, that's the sweetest time to get in before the bubble expands. And on Key Lake South, their southern project, there is also potential for nickel and cobalt, which are rare earths, and there's a huge deficit in the world for those right now. As of now, they have found boulders in Key Lake South containing up to 46% of uranium. All of the data is accessible on their webpage, tractionuranium.com, and I suggest you all go through it before you invest. But as soon as the extraction process starts, it's gonna be a party for the investors. But nothing explains it better than a video, so let's watch it together.
Traction Uranium. Since the dawn of the nuclear age, one of the most prolific sources of uranium on Earth has been Canada's Athabasca Basin. Some of the highest grade uranium deposits ever discovered have been found in this unique geological formation. And that's where our two flagship...
There's also, since there is so much uranium in this place and the extraction process has been happening for decades, the infrastructure around it is also built out for it. Because in any mining project, one of the main things is how to get it out of the ground to the processing facilities. Building out that infrastructure can be very expensive. With the Athabasca Basin, it's already done.
Projects can be found. Our Hardy Bay claim is over 11,000 hectares and encompasses multiple 1 kilometer long Ice Age radioactive sandstone boulder dispersal fields historically containing up to 3% uranium. along with airborne geophysics showing strong electromagnetic conductors potentially from the boulder source itself. 300 kilometers south and just 50 kilometers west of one of the world's largest uranium deposits is our Lazy Edward Bay claim, encompassing over 1,800 hectares, with several intersecting shear zones. And most of the regional conductive trend is located within the claim area. Historic drilling on the property intersected several key samples that suggest there is a high potential for a near-surface, high-grade uranium discovery.
Near-surface, high-grade uranium discovery. The near-surface here is also very important because the deeper it goes, the more expensive it gets. Before we go on with the video, I want to show a very simplified photo, which I like. Nuclear fuel is extremely energy dense. One uranium pellet, because they process them into pellets, about 1 inch tall, about half an inch wide. The potential energy that can be extracted from it is equal to 17,000 cubic feet of natural gas. That's a whole reservoir. Also 120 gallons of oil, 1 ton of coal. Well, first of all, yeah, it is small, but second of all, gas, oil and coal, they're extremely dirty. Gas is the purest of them, but you don't compare it to nuclear. Also, extracting oil and natural gas can be very damaging to the environment. We don't even want to talk about burning coal.
And this renowned mining-friendly district has infrastructure and industry expertise that is second to none. If you would like to learn more about our projects and our experienced team, please visit TRCTF.com. Over the last 70 years, nuclear power has proven itself to be one of the safest and least polluting forms of generating electricity. And the next generation of reactors being built today could be even better. Help develop the world's clean energy future with Traction Uranium.
Also, seeing how Russia manipulates countries with their fossil fuels, anything that comes from Russia is and will be used as a weapon against the country buying it. Right now, EU and USA are buying uranium from Russia, and not only buying, they're dependent from it, because changing the source much harder than with gas and oil. Traction Uranium has a potential to change that in the future, to switch the Russian uranium against Canadian uranium. It's a higher grade uranium and it comes from Canada. I think the world needs to change their view on nuclear. Everything that happened after Chernobyl and then Fukushima changed our attitude towards nuclear. But now it needs to change again, because we can see that fossil fuels, gas, oil and coal can be used as a weapon, which Russia did. Luckily, it was a soft winter, but what if it wasn't? What if it was a harsh, cold winter? Or what if Russia will use uranium the same way? What if they weaponize it against France? French need uranium for 70% of their electricity output. Well, in the future, they might start getting it from Traction Uranium from Canada. Traction Uranium, my friends, the ticker is right on the screen. And before I go, I advise you to go to their webpage, read through all of the information. Thank you, Traction Uranium, for sponsoring this video. Thank you, my friends, for watching. As a YouTuber, this is my job. I can either put a sponsor in front of every video, or I can choose one big video, but the sponsored segment will be half of the video then. And I have chosen that to save you guys from 10 different sponsors and only use one every month. I hope you agree with me, and if you don't, put it in the comments and I will read you and answer you. Thank you for trusting me, for giving you information. I really appreciate you. And I'll see you in my next video. Until then, my friends, Slava Ukraini.